again, and he's loose again. Edwards off the running. Let's get back down to Edwards. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won. Right now, and they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Riley Williams. Goes to the free. Touchdown.
All right, everybody, welcome into the next episode of Gridiron Uncensored Podcast. It's Trevor and Brennan tonight, and we are rocking on with the season previews in the ACC. It's still strange talking about Stanford and Cal out here, but that's what we're doing. And Cal, obviously, you're up next. We like to, again, go 24, kind of look at that, and then move into, coaching staff changes, shit like that. And there's plenty to talk about here with this Cal team. So, Trev, let's just go ahead and get into it, man. Cal.
All right, Cal.
Hey,
all
listen,
right, Cal.
We went out on a limb for you last year, and
I was all in on you guys. I thought you guys were just going to wreck house, and Wilcox is still here, and I don't know why.
Blasted Dinkelberg.
Blasted Wilcox.
That's how I feel, man. So 6 and 7, you guys obviously know, but anybody else that's watching that doesn't give a shit about Cal, and you're just watching us because we're cool and shit. But Cal, they looked so good, preseason, and with what they brought to the table, we really thought that they could be a 9-10 team that just shocked people, and just the way things fell, it went the total opposite direction. That's why there's floors and ceilings, folks, when we talk about teams. Not to detract from this, but a sidebar, people talk when they talk floors. I've gotten arguments with people on Twitter about this. A floor is like, oh, that's what you expect them to win, like right at the over/under. No. To me, a floor is like
worst case scenarios.
And they were just about there. I mean, they looking at the schedule, Trev, they beat Auburn early, and we were like, okay, they're on track. They're doing what we all thought, they're going to do. San Diego State did a good win there. And then losing to Florida State, who at the time was coming off a horrible start. I mean, obviously they had a horrible season, but at the time you're like, okay, it's Florida State. Maybe they figured it out. But then you go out and you lose. Again, another one-score loss to Miami, a one-score loss to Pitt, one-score loss. I mean, just brutal season. I feel so bad for Cal fans on watching.
Honestly, a play here, a play there. We are talking to you about you guys in a completely different light.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so frustrating, because this team was there. They just couldn't finish. You lost to Syracuse and then SMU down the line, and then took an L to UNLV in the bowl game to finish 6 and 7. But that's all said and done. Things have changed, Trev. We're moving into 2025.
Yeah.
What are you seeing coaching wise? I know there's been some changes there. I mean, they've brought in, NFL type, to like Ron Rivera to come in to try and help out. Some like it, some absolutely hate it. What are you seeing on the actual coaching staff, though?
All right. So Wilcox, in his wonderfully 8th season, has decided to bring in a new offensive coordinator. And it's an offensive coordinator that you probably don't recognize right off the bat, but you will if you research his name. He's a former head coach of the Boise State team from 2014 to 2020, and his name is Brian Harsin. I think it's Harsin. It's Harsin, right?
Yeah, that's at least how I pronounce it.
That's how I pronounce it. That's how I read it and pronounce it. But yeah, he was Boise State's head coach from 2014 to 2020. For those of you that don't know, his record while he was at Boise State was 69 and 16 or 19, excuse me. Which is nothing to stake it. I mean, I think that's pretty damn amazing, actually.
A lot of teams would take that.
I will.
Yeah.
But he was also a short-lived coach at Auburn. And then he's kind of been on a hiatus since then. And now he's back with the California Golden Bears to coach an offense that is gonna probably look a little bit different than you guys are used to this season, honestly, because the way his offenses worked at Boise were more spread style, and I feel like that Cal is going to be I think you guys are going to be okay this year with him as offensive coordinator, but that remains to be seen because you still have a head man in Wilcox that I do not have confidence in.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think people question the confidence in that coach, and he's been around for a hot minute. But
yes,
it's just
there's only so many years you can keep on going at mediocrity before you have to be like, okay, well, let's try something different.
Yeah, and maybe they were like, "Hey, we're so close last year. Don't get rid of it. Let us do it."
And that's a valid point. You were in almost every game, minus the SMU game and minus the UNLV game. I feel like you were in every one of those games.
Yeah, and the bowl games at this point, they obviously matter. They count.
Yeah.
But portal at that time, Mendoza's gone. All this shit.
That's right.
So it's something. Maybe you give them this. Hey, dude, this is your last freaking chance.
That's right.
Defensively, I mean, Trevor, the defensive coordinator is still there.
They promoted from within. They got co-defense coordinators, right? So Terrence Brown and Vic Soto. Both with the fourth seasons. They're both on their fourth season with Cal.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown, Coach Brown was formerly the DB's coach and passing game coordinator, and Coach Soto was the special teams coordinator and the outside linebackers coach. He is still going to be coaching the linebackers, but just taking a more prevalent role in the defensive play calling.
Yeah, and again, last year their defense wasn't bad. It was 36th in the country in total defense.
No. And I think that's probably why they kept the coaches around and just promoted them from within, honestly.
And I'll say, too, I don't know if you were going to mention him, Trev, but Rolovich coming in from Washington State, I think, Harrison, whatever, there's a lot of people talking bad about him online. And I get why, but you bring in Rolovich, too, to help that senior assistant, coordinating the offense. Obviously Washington State's always usually got a high power offense. They can move the ball. We actually just got done, discussing them when we did our Wake Forest, preview. So I think that's a plus, when it's all said and done. It's not just Brian coming in. You bring in, Nick too to help. So maybe some hope there. Maybe they can get over, that tight, one score loss.
There is a part of me that wants to buy into this so bad, just like I did last season.
I just don't want to be hurt again.
I mean, I don't like being let down. I do not like being let down.
Yeah,
not a fan.
We'll see what happens. Returning production numbers will move out of coaching staff unless you had anything else, Trev.
No, that's all good. We're good.
51% returning production. 65th team in the SP Plus advanced statistics from Bill Conley. So interesting. It's 74th offense last year, and that was what Mendoza is a really good quarterback. They just fell apart. The things can get going. So we'll see what happens with this year. So let's look at the transfer portal and what they're trying to do to get this thing going. Trev, looking at the portal. Not bad. They got some guys coming in, looking at 38 in and 33 out. It was the 38th class, in the nation. So, I mean, they're making moves or they're getting as many people as they can to try and, get this thing rolling. Guys from all across the country, Penn State, Purdue, Texas, all across, the nation. Anything stand out to you on the portal side?
One word for me, quarterback. Yeah, that stands out to me. I mean, it's a hot ticket item, but they got two very quality quarterbacks, one from Oregon, one from Ohio State. Most people that have watched college football know who the Ohio State quarterback is, Devin Brown.
Yeah.
But a lot of people probably don't know or haven't really necessarily heard of Jaron Kaway Sagapulutele. I'm sorry. I tried to practice that name a few different times, and it never came out properly. But Jaron Kaway, quarterback from Oregon, also a freshman, by the way, still in his freshman year. So
that was an insane recruiting battle between the two. I mean, for those that maybe didn't follow the recruiting anymore, because with the portal and all that, I mean, it went back and forth between, all right, Cal's now supposed to get him. Oh, well, no, Oregon's going to get him. Nope, now he's going to commit to Cal. Nope, he's signed with Oregon. And then in the
transferred
portal,
out.
he transferred. So the money bags are flying around, man. Cal's like, no, we need a goddamn quarterback.
Yep.
And,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Devin Brown may, but I think Jerron has a potential to start right away. It's a possibility. I don't think it'd be a good move, but Devin Brown is experienced enough where I think he could carry the offensive load at the quarterback position. But he's not the only hot ticket item. I thought that there was a few others that honestly were pretty big good pickups, not big, but good pickups.
Yeah.
Mainly, crap.
I mean, you got guys across the line.
I mean, it's everywhere, man. But honestly, I love the LJ Johnson Jr. Pickup from SMU, the running back, 5'10", 211. I know that he's taken a big hit as far as ratings go from high school to now, but it's still, I think the talent level that they're pulling in overall, I think is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I mean, look, we've seen classes with 50 people in it that are still ranked in the 60s, and that's just off sheer volume. This is a larger portal class that's put into the 30 range, and that means there's some quality in there too. It's not just a bunch of bodies. LJ Johnson, I think, is going to be a fine one. Taggart coming in from BYU to be linebacker. I think that's an important one.
Tyson Ford from Notre Dame, D lineman.
There's guys you bring in, new special teamers also. I mean, there's a lot to like, I think, in this class, and it just really depends on who's going to start at quarterback, Trev. And let's just go ahead and talk offense.
Yeah.
Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Jerron? Is it going to be Ohio State's former quarterback? And he had a chance. Talking about Devin Brown. Every time he gets a chance, he gets injured. It's like, what I do?
No, I'm just giggling because it's just like this kid. In my head, I'm just like, it's because he wore the number 33 as a quarterback. That's the problem.
That's fair. I thought I'd done something because
I
said something. They're like, you say his name wrong, man. I'm like, dude, I'm trying here. All right,
no, say his name wrong. He deserves it.
But yeah, so Devin Brown, every time this guy gets a chance, he gets hurt. Like every freaking time. It was an ankle, and then the bowl game against was it Missouri? He stepped in and then he got hurt. So is he healthy? Is he made out of glass? Will he survive a season? I don't know. I mean, obviously he's been learning in the quarterback room at Ohio State. That's impressive enough. But will he get the chance to make it through the whole season?
And more importantly, the coaching staff over there at Ohio State felt comfortable enough to put him underneath center when they needed somebody. So I feel like, just having that knowledge should give you a confidence of his abilities. Now, his mental abilities are there. He can handle the quarterback position. Now, can he handle the physicality of it? That's a question that we may find out. At least at the beginning of the season. I don't know. He may be the starter week 1, but I do not think he will be the starter week 3.
Yeah, Sagapolatelli, I feel like he's the guy that's going to be it. You go all in on him with the portal. Fighting, Oregon in a goddamn recruiting battle is tough with the money out there. So to me, it's like, hey, dude, we need you. We need you to come in and you're our quarterback of the future. Maybe not the first couple of games, until you feel confident and ready, like you said, Trev. But Jerron seems like the guy that you're going to put in. And then, you look outside, the offensive line was bad. Now you're going to have 4 new starters, projected, at least from what I've been reading, all coming in from the portal. Yep. You had really nice running backs last year that you couldn't get them going. Ott's gone. He moved on in the spring portal, which was a hell of a hit there, but it doesn't matter if you can't block for him. So all these guys that you bring in, Ruffins from Nevada, you're bringing in guys, Leon Bell from Mississippi State, guys from the SEC, that have been in strong rooms that have, have already been, developed in that type of world. So now you bring them into Cal, and you're hoping you can get that jump start. Outside of that, wide receiver, I think it's going to be an issue early. Just because you lost, a lot of talent. When you look at the portal, you guys took a hit, and that's, Josiah Martin's gone. He's gone to Oklahoma. Isaiah Hunter's gone to Nebraska. Multiple tight ends are gone to Georgia Tech. It's going to be tough. I think moving the football early until somebody steps up and you build that cohesion. But that's what fall ball is for too. So maybe things will change by then. Trev, anything else on the offense you see that stands out? It's just, to me, really
A whole
how's
lot
the
of
O-line
question
gel?
marks, unfortunately, but I feel
Yeah.
like that they should be able to bring it around to potentially make it at least an efficient offense.
Yeah, it just depends on how these guys mesh, and
Yeah,
we
exactly.
just need to see it. Maybe year one's not going to be it, but hey, if the defense again is like what it was last year, maybe it is. It can't really be as bad as was last year, but maybe I'm wrong. You had Mendoza, and that dude can sling it, so maybe it can be. Not trying to be negative, but just like, we'll see what happens. Trev, defensive side, again, we mentioned good numbers last year when you look across the board, but a lot of the production's gone from the back end, replacing them. With you got young guys stepping up that were there, and then portal. You hit guys, all across again, safeties, corners, linebackers, all guys to try and help fill any holes that were lost. I think the linebackers got good players. I think guys that had good years last year, will step in this season. What are you seeing on the defensive side, Trev? Anything?
I just like I like that it looks like that this is the first team that I think that I've seen that legitimately looks like they are focusing on the front seven more so than the corners and safeties. I feel at least that's the way I feel. And then they also have returning production on the defensive line, which is honestly a phenomenal benefit.
It is.
To have those returning guys come back and be kind of an anchor of the defense and the focal point of the defense. Because in my opinion, the defensive line is the focal point of the defense. Whether anyone wants to argue with me about that, that's fine. I'll argue to them blue in the face. I mean, if you don't have a good defensive line, you might as well quit.
Yep.
Honestly. And ACC is no different because there are running backs that will run right through you if you don't have a decent nose tackle or decent defensive tackles that can really plug up that center and plug the holes and necessarily get that running back off the play itself that they're running. I just feel like they're set up well to do very good at defense, even more so than they did last year, in my opinion.
I agree. And looking at it again, you've got returning production up front. You've got guys coming off the edge, in the portal classes. TJ Bush is an important piece, I think, out on the edge. But then cornerbacks is, maybe where there's a question. You got Shemwell coming in from Utah. That's a good pickup. And then also, a guy coming in from FIU as well in Masses. Those are guys that should step right in my mind. At least be in the two deep there and give some depth to that rotation. But your linebackers have all produced. Uluave, I believe I pronounced that right. He had a good year last year. He's another one that should step in. So the defense should be right in maybe in that top 40 range again. It just depends on if they get hung out to dry by the offense. If the offense can't get the production, going on. But again, so many question marks, for me. How's the quarterback situation? How good is this young guy stepping in? Or is it Devin Brown? How's the offensive line gel with a bunch of new starters? There's weapons there. I mean, you lost a bunch, but you got a couple guys coming in. De Jesus coming in from, UNLV. He's a solid wideout. He's small, but he's a shifty type slot. You got 6'2" wide receiver James coming in from Arkansas. So there's bodies there. It's just how does everything mesh? and we won't know until we see it. Trev, anything else on the offense defense before we move on to the schedule?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. I just feel like that. I think Cal is going to be even. I know that losing out's huge, but I think that they can't be afraid to run the ball even if it's not working great.
Yeah.
Getting 2 or 3 yards is better than an incomplete pass in my mind on first down, even on maybe even second down. And I think that Cal fans are going to have to be patient with this offense this year.
Yeah, I agree. At least let it come together. There's good running backs on the roster. It's not like there's not. Raphael came in from NC State.
Yep.
You mentioned LJ Johnson. I mean, there's guys. Even High coming in from UTSA was solid. At that school. So it just again, how does it work together? And then it also matters who you play. Trev, let's look at the schedule.
Oh Lord, that was a great segue. I love it. I love it.
It kind of worked. It kind of worked pretty nicely.
That worked well.
Hey,
good job.
That's all we do, baby. So you start off. You play Oregon State on the road opener against, in my mind, a solid, tough group of 5 team. I know Pac-12 fans won't like being called that, but that's what you are now. So Oregon State there, and then you play Texas Southern, and then you play, in my mind, a pretty solid Minnesota team. Then you take it kind of, San Diego State. It's a weird flow to the schedule, Trev. What are you looking at?
Yeah, it's weird because there isn't one.
It's like
God bless it.
On off, on off, on.
But I mean, the only real, so I know they're a West Coast team. I get that part. And they're an ACC. They're in the ACC. But if you look at the schedule, they really only have to leave the West Coast three times. And then if you make it to the ACC championship, 4th time. But other than that, you're out in the West Coast. Otherwise, the rest of the season.
That's a fair point.
So travel isn't going to be as they have the least amount of travel, I think, out of the between. Well, I know Stanford because we already covered them. Stanford's got a travel schedule far from hell. They're traveling a bit too. But all things considered, if I was a Cal fan, I would be happy to see this schedule because I know my team isn't being asked to travel across the country every other week.
Yeah.
And going, go to whatever.
Go to Syracuse,
go into Charlotte, and then come all the way back to the West Coast for a game against whomever. Pick a damn team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a benefit to being out the West Coast. It looks like the ACC actually tried to schedule a lot more West Coast for Cal this season. It looks like.
Yeah, and really, it's just can you do the grind? Again, Oregon State, and kind of you get to reset at Texas Southern, then you play Minnesota, and then you play San Diego State, Boston College, Duke. It's a tough schedule when you look at it. Closing out at SMU is not easy. This Louisville team figures to be a tough one in the conference, but that they usually drop one they shouldn't. But we'll see that this is a new year for Brom and them.
And I would say that
Duke should be improved.
Yep. Duke should be improved, but I think the question mark for me, if I was a Cal fan, is that going out to Boston College and then coming home and trying to play so you're going to have a short week of practice, more than likely because of the travel.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to at least have a day of rest, more than likely. I don't know how coaches normally handle these long trips, but generally speaking, I would imagine that Sunday and Monday would be rest days.
Yeah,
recovery days.
Multiple time zones and everything else.
Yep. So I would imagine that they would give them rest until Monday, and then they start working in the game plan for the Blue Devils.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously it's nice to have the Blue Devils at home an off week, and then North Carolina also coming to Berkeley, which is a benefit before you have to travel out to Blacksburg.
Agreed. So it'll be an interesting season. Defense should have them again, and to me, most all games is just the offense. Over under Trev's at 5.5. do you think they can get over that, get a bowl game again?
We'll
or-
say that I'm going to take the over on Cal, and I simply say that because they have good quarterback potential. They have decent offensive potential, but I think they have better defensive potential.
yeah,
And right now on this schedule, I think I can probably say that I'd be afraid of 3 offenses. Otherwise, I feel like everybody else is in the same boat.
yeah. I can see
A
that.
change over on offense, and because SMU is going to have a really good offense. I think Louisville will always usually puts out a really good offense.
Mhm.
And I would say probably the offensive stylings of Minnesota could be a factor just because the way they play. And they aren't necessarily you spread them out always. They will get down and dirty with you too.
Yeah,
And they always have decent, strong running backs.
they do. Very true. And I mean, they do have a really good running back this year. I'm gonna go. God dang, man, I don't want to say it, but I might have to go under on this one just because I need to see it. And I don't want to get hurt again. But Oregon State, I think that's going to be a problem week 1 with a young quarterback if he's the guy. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh,
I hope.
if they go the freshman right out the gate, I feel like his first game probably should be Texas Southern.
I think you're right.
Because if they don't see what they want to see from God bless it,
Brown.
thank you.
It's all good. I don't want to forgettable. I don't want to say it.
He is, but anyway, I mean, he wear 33. That's all I gotta say.
Fair.
As a quarterback.
So
There you go.
I guess that's something to remember.
There you go.
We digress. Sorry.
But anyway, but yeah, no, I think they would start Brown against Oregon State at Oregon State or at Corvallis, and then I think they will assess on how he plays that game on if they just move on right away.
That's
because-
definitely possible.
Or maybe they do a 2 quarterback system. One plays Oregon State, they play Brown, they have the freshman play Texas Southern, and just kind of. I hate that idea, but it's a possibility that they might do it.
Yeah, and I mean anything's possible. We've seen it as Michigan, fans with Cade McNamara and JJ. So
Certainly,
we'll see what happens. To me, it's just it's a tough schedule. Duke's going to be better. Even Virginia brought in a nice quarterback. We'll see what happens. I always tend to lean on veteran quarterback play, and I need to see it from Cal first this season.
Yep.
So you guys let us know again. Outside looking in, we do national. Try to cover all the teams. So if we're missing something, if we're not seeing something you guys know about, let us know, man. We're trying to learn these teams.
Yes,
too.
we definitely encourage you guys to put the comments in. We will comment as we see them. We try and stay up to date with them. Me, Brendan, and Blake all kind of chime in one way or the other. Either we'll give you a thumbs up and just say a thank you, or if you have a question, we'll try and answer it. Whatever the case.
Or if you want to fight,
or if you want to
prefer not
pick a
to,
fight,
but,
we will usually try.
Sometimes,
sometimes it might not be worth it, but sometimes it might. You never know.
Especially if you're Dick. So let us know. All right. Well, we appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great one, and take it easy, Cal. God bless you.
Good luck.
Good luck.